All right, this is a fun job. There's a little bit going on. It's one of those jobs where the details really matter, so I want to explain it to everybody so that you can understand what it is we're doing and why we're doing what we are doing. The ground is so much higher, you can see all the properties, everything. All this water comes down and it ends up right here. And the homeowner has been just pumping out the water, dragging a sump pump, putting a couple 100 feet of discharge line together, and he's just ready for a system. So we're going to come right through here with two 6-inch pipes. And because we got this tree here, we're going to use the root liner. You know, we want to use the barrier that protects against the roots from getting into our system. We'll have two 6-inch perforated pipes running side by side. And then we'll go ahead and we'll cut a single wall 15-inch piece of corrugated pipe, and we're going to use that as root barrier to protect against that tree.
This is the top of a culvert pipe. This is a big single wall culvert pipe. This is a 15-inch single wall culvert pipe where we put it in the ground, built our system inside of it. We cut the very top of it off. This is our root barrier. Roots cannot penetrate the system that we built. The system that we built is to grab up all that bulk water, all that surface water that's coming off of all that high ground and flooding this backyard. The water stands in this backyard. We have a 6-inch tie-in to our outdoor sump system, before and after.
I have the sump pump system over here. So we got to run power all the way out here.
Massive collection system. We have power ran to the back. We have a big chambered system with two 6-inch inlet pipes.
We're going to pump this out of the backyard, and we're going to have an 1.5-inch discharge line, but we're going to put it in a 3-inch Schedule 40 so that if the yard is aerated or if somebody goes to plant something, they're not going to hurt our 1.5-inch discharge. I want to use the one-piece Schedule 40 1.5-inch flex. That way we don't have no connections. I don't have to worry about it coming apart. The frost can lift it, heave it, move it around. It's not a problem. So over here, when we get to the side of the house, we have some other details that we have to address. We have a negative slope going right up to the house. Now, they already had spent a small fortune having a company come in and dig down the house basement wall, 7-8 feet, and they went ahead and they had that all waterproofed. Unfortunately, when there's a real torrential rain and they end up with water just laying up against the house, they're still getting water inside the house. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix this by putting a swale right here. Now, this lawn gets cut with a riding lawnmower, and we have to make sure that it can be mowed. We want the swale bottom to be here. And we want to use a ditch bucket and then come in here and just give it a really nice shape. So we want this to, we're going to have to really take up some room on the side of the house here. So the swale is easy for the homeowner to mow.
You're going to want to pay close attention to this so that if you do a swale on the side of your house, you don't overthrow. It doesn't take a lot to create an area that's going to catch water. Now, Francisco, who's running the track hoe, he's an experienced operator, and he's feathering this big ditching bucket. You have Valente, who's on the ground, and he's cutting the edge with the shovel. They're creating a really soft, shallow swale to slow down the water, to catch the water, and we're going to run a French drain through the center of this swale. Again, you have two experienced tradesmen creating a really soft and easy to maintain swale down the side of a house with negative pitch. If we would have just installed a French drain without a soft swale during torrential rains when there's bulk water running across the ground, the French drain wouldn't be able to take up all that water in time, and the homeowner would end up with a wet basement. By creating the soft swale, we now hang up the bulk water and we give the French drain time to take in all of the water. Another option, and in some cases, we would put window wells by the basement window and we'd build up the dirt on the side of the house. We'd build it up with clay, since clay is like a rubber liner, and we'd shed the water away from the house.
We have 3 downspouts we're going to take care of too while we're here. Let's get that downspout. Let's get it tied into the French drain discharge. We got another downspout over here that we're going to take care of. Right there, it's coming out to the front. And then the one that's in the corner there. We got 3 downspouts that we're going to take care of while we're here. We're going to grab all this water. We're going to help them manage all this water to improve their drainage.
We have 3 systems built into one. We have the backyard sump pump system taking care of bulk water. We have the roof runoff system, and then we have a French drain system.
Now, make sure you watch this electric line. We're going to get into it. So we might want to bring our vacuum excavator. The gas line's a problem. Got gas right here. We got the gas main. So we got to watch it.
We used our Ditch Witch vacuum excavator to remove all the dirt around the utilities. I've done videos on this before, so I didn't show it, and I'm not going to cover it, but I'll leave a video link in the description below. After this video, you can watch how a Ditch Witch vacuum excavator works. I even have another video showing the clean out. I can leave that in the description as well. You can see how it exposes any utilities, electric lines, communication lines. You literally blast water into the ground, you loosen the dirt, and you suck it out into a tank. Now, the French drain system and the roof runoff system are gravity-powered systems, so we have to make sure that we have slope getting the water from the side of this house out into the front yard to that storm drain catch basin. To do that, we're using our laser level, and we're meticulously keeping an eye on what we have for slope so that we don't have any high spots, and we're going to be reassured that our roof runoff system and our French drain system is going to flow water. If you do not have a laser level, no worries. I did a video on how to measure slope for under $5. I'll leave that in the description. So there's 2 ways to combat negative slope on the side of a house. One is to build up the grade right along the house. And I'm going to show you why we didn't choose to do that. We get so deep when we go around the corner of this house. If we would have built up the grade on the side of the house, we would have chased the water away from the house foundation, but it still would have sat along the side of the house. You can see how deep we are as we come out to the front yard around the front corner of that house. Now remember, we have a big backyard sump pump system, a giant collection system, and we're pumping all this water that's coming off of all the high ground throughout the neighborhood, and we're pumping it into this trench as well. We're going to have our discharge line for our outdoor sump pump in the bottom of this trench right alongside the pipe for the French drain. We're then going to put the roof runoff system on top of the French drain and the discharge line. Again, we are keeping an eye on our slope. We want to make sure that everything is going to drain out to the front yard. We will give detailed descriptions of the core and tap to the storm drain catch basin out front, and we'll show you what we did to build in some safety features. This system is built with winter in mind. We have to build it so that in the wintertime, December, January, February, March, we have to make sure that this system is going to flow water during any thaws. We have to make sure that everything can withstand winter. And by doing that, that means we have to work with materials that are flexible. We're in the frost. When ground freezes, it moves up and down, and we need materials that are going to be flexible and have some give.
This is dual wall. So this is the plastic pipe. We got to bring the rubber compression fitting, and we got to bring the thin 4-inch PVC that works really good with the rubber compression fitting, okay?
This storm drain catch basin is dual wall culvert pipe. We're going to do a core and tap. We're going to core it, and we're going to use a rubber compression fitting with 4-inch PVC SDR Schedule 35. I'll leave in a link below the compression fitting that we're using on this installation. We're also going to use our high octane armor pipe because we're in the frost. I mean, we're stuck in the frost. You have to be 42 inches or deeper to get below the frost. So we know that the ground is going to be heaving and thawing, and it's going to be moving around. We need a pipe that's really strong, extra heavy duty, and has a lot of flexibility, and that's our Royal Blue High Octane Armor Pipe. We're using our Forever coupler that has the barbs where you're not going to get the pipe off. We're going to use our 200-year super sticky, super stretchy tile tape. I'll leave that in the description down below. Now, here is some built-in protection for when the city infrastructure becomes overwhelmed. When the storm drain cannot take in any more water during a really big rain event, we want to be able to vent our 3 systems. We have our 3 systems running to this D-box. It's going to have a 24-inch grate over top of it. If the city infrastructure cannot take in any more water, we'll be able to vent our systems out the top of this giant soakaway that we're building right here. We have a one-piece discharge line with no connections. We have one piece from our soakaway all the way to the storm drain catch basin, so we can be reassured that when the freeze and thaw cycles are occurring, it's not going to pull our pipe apart. If we don't have fittings, nothing can come apart. We're going to do the same thing with our discharge line out of the backyard. We have one piece, 1.5-inch flex, Schedule 40. Now we're putting that into a 3-inch Schedule 40. The reason why we want to put it in the 3-inch Schedule 40 is so that if somebody aerates the lawn or goes to plant a tree, they won't cut our line unknowing that the line is there. We have a soft, flexible 1.5-inch Schedule 40 inside a hard pipe 3-inch PVC Schedule 40. Now, I didn't want to rely on hard pipe because it can't withstand the freeze and thaw cycles. So that pipe will crack. It will crack in the freeze and thaw. The flex pipe will not. And we have a one-piece discharge with no fittings, 1.5 inch, from our pump all the way to the side of the house where we're pumping the water. Once we start going downhill, the water will just start running to our soakaway and then out to the storm drain catch basin. Now, I get a lot of comments in the comment section about how PVC pipe is nice and straight and it doesn't have any bellies. Nothing can be further from the truth. Nobody knows this better than a contractor who's been in the business 3.5 decades and has made a living replacing a lot of sump pump discharge lines made out of PVC. Now, Francisco's having to work really, really hard to get all the bellies out of this PVC pipe. This PVC Schedule 40 3-inch pipe dips and bows so bad that it takes so much work, and you have to be so conscious of this to get rid of all those bellies. A belly is a dip or low point in the line. Water will stay in that dip or low point in the line. In a climate that freezes and has a real true winter like we do here in Michigan, you cannot have any of those little dips, any of those bellies. Once you end up with a belly that freezes, you can't push water out during a thaw. Another thing that you have to be conscious of, if the belly is over a great length, water weighs 8 pounds per gallon. Now you can't push the water any further. If it's a gravity system, which a lot of sump pump discharge lines are that are PVC, once you hit a wall of water, you're done. So we wanted to make sure that we had no bellies. Everything was perfect. The guys shot this entire thing with the laser level the whole time that they installed it. We are going to flow water. Freeze or thaw, we built this to withstand the winter. Here's our soakaway that all 3 of our systems go to, and then it all ends up draining out of the one discharge line. We have a roof runoff system on top of a French drain system and a discharge line. You can see the perforated pipe at the bottom. Always put your perforated pipe on the bottom. You want to drain the water out of the bottom of that trench. You want to get all the water out of the bottom of your trench. So that's why you want your perforated pipe at the very bottom. Make sure to always use Y connections. You don't want to use a T connection because the water just slams to a stop. With a Y connection, the water keeps its velocity and you keep the water moving freely. If you found any of this information helpful, give us a thumbs up. It supports the channel. And if you have any more questions regarding this installation, leave them in the comments section. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until the next video.